Second day of SPI with a few legends on the stage here at the Franklin booth. To my left, we have Barry Cinnamon Energy Systems. It's in the middle of Ordia, the Solar Surge, which is a killer YouTube channel, and I'll let you describe it. And Mohammed Abdalla, Good Faith Energy. Why don't you guys take 30 seconds, give us a quick introduction to yourself and what you're doing here and why you're here, and we'll get into some killer questions.
Great. My name is Barry Cinnamon with Cinnamon Energy Systems. Solar's in my blood. Electrons used to be thermal, but love doing this. And so happy to see many old friends and so much excitement in the industry. This is the biggest SPI ever, and there's a really big reason for it because the world, the US, your town, all demand the solutions that we have. So I got one question. Raise your hands. How many people, this is your first SPI? Raise your hands if this is your first SPI. Franklin people, first SPI? Yeah, it's like a third of the people. And the rest of us are old geezers like me, just coming back to see old friends. So I guarantee you, if you've got your hand up, you will be coming to the show again and again and again for many, many years until there's no more coal, no more gas, no more nuclear in the whole country. Really happy.
Well, I give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for every opportunity, and Justin, I thank you for the opportunity to come and speak. My name is Joe Ordia. I've been in the solar industry for about 10 years, and I really started on the contractor electrician side, doing system designs, installations, and then had a chance a couple of years ago to relaunch my business as more of a social media company. And so here at Solar Surge, we try to come to the solar marketplaces, particularly for potential solar homeowners, with the best product information available, helping them sort through everything that's available in terms of modules, inverters, batteries, so that they can make an informed decision. We also have a virtual sales team, so we sell nationwide in 6 of the largest markets here in the United States. Some of our teams here with us now. And we just want to make sure that people have good information so they can make smart choices about how to go solar.
Thanks, Joe. Hey, y'all. My name is Mohammed Abdalla. I'm the founder and CEO of Good Faith Energy. I started my career in the oil and gas industry as a landman, and a couple years in, I really wanted to pivot to the clean energy industry. And so I founded Good Faith Energy. It took a couple years to get the company up and running. But we are a leading custom solar and battery installer in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. And we're about 70 employees deep. And I'm just very grateful to be here with you all today to share some of my knowledge about growing a solar business in the state of Texas.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate that. So what we want to talk about especially in this panel, is you guys are all leaders of your industry specifically, and leading homeowners now into new technology like storage it's a whole new frontier, right? Selling solar is a pretty simple thing to do at the end of the day, but leading homeowners into storage and energy management and what that looks like and giving them infrastructure, right, it's a whole new thing, and it's also twice as expensive. So. One of the interesting things, Barry, you spent a lot of times with homeowners. You're an early adapter, been doing this since I've been in the business. So what are some of the ways as we move into new technologies you help your customers be comfortable with it? Like how do you make customers comfortable with making this kind of switch in the home?
Well, I've been doing residential and commercial installations for over 20 years, and the reason why we're able to be so sustainable as a business is we're always honest and realistic with customers. So we take more of a consultative approach. It's not a short-term, let's maximize the sales this month. Let's make sure we're getting customers for life. And so we're just honest with them. And sometimes we tell them things they don't like to hear. Sometimes we tell them, gee, it's too expensive to solve the problem that way. But that credibility adds to referrals we get for customers, and that's the core to our business growth.
And Mohammed, you're in Texas, where the levelized cost of energy is about a quarter of where it is in Los Gatos, right? Mm-hmm. So selling into an area where 11, 12, 9, 8 cents a kilowatt hour is a realistic option for customers. Why does storage and solar kind of fit in Texas? Why is it working with that kind of energy?
Yeah, great question. So I would start with, the days of 8, 9, and 10 cent kilowatt hour plans in Texas are over. After Winter Storm Uri wiped out 4 million Texans' power, there's so much updates and upgrades that need to be made to the grid, that's all being passed down to ratepayers. So that right now, if you're going in for a renewal, you're closer to 15, 16, 17 cents, which honestly for the solar industry is incredible. But people are traumatized, honestly. I mean, some people had lost power for 4 or 5 days straight. Some people lost their lives. You know, some people lost their medicine, lost goods in their home, lost fish. I mean, as funny as that sounds, like, it can be very expensive. So I think people now, their motive to go solar and storage is very deeply entrenched in energy security, independence, self-sufficiency, that sort of thing. No one really buys a battery because it's saving them money. Can it save you some money? Absolutely. That's just one of the upsides, right? But the battery is really designed to provide that energy security, and solar is becoming more and more cost effective in the state of Texas with the cost of power going up. The way we look at it is, if you're eligible for the tax credit, we take the block of power that the Scanify report shows you're going to produce, bring it down to a monthly, cost and a cost per kilowatt hour, and say, hey, your renewal is 14 cents, but solar is 10 or 11, and that's pretty powerful at this stage of the industry.
It's awesome, Joe. I'm such a fan of this guy because not only have you been a big fan of the Franklin and a big supporter, but you've really opened us up to how to be a partner in this business, right? How to work with somebody and not to have too much hubris, right? Be humble. Now, you're operating in a virtual world. People, they know your face, they know your stories, they even know your level of expertise, but you know very little about them, and you have a flood of opportunities that are constantly coming in, asking questions. How do you qualify that flood of opportunities without on YouTube and that kind of content without going down a complete rabbit hole and actually turn those into relationships?
You go, Joe.
Yeah.
Sure, thank you for the question, Justin. As
Bring it closer.
As far as qualifying opportunities, I wouldn't say that we have, any more difficulty than any other sales organization, if you want to, call us a sales organization in terms of qualifying opportunities. In fact, I feel for some of my colleagues out there that are doing, door knock and neighborhood canvassing, and that sort of customer acquisition strategy could actually be much, much more difficult and time consuming in terms of qualifying. With our strategy in social media, our overall strategy is to provide as much value as we can upfront before we ever engage live with a potential solar homeowner. And so the way that we do that as Solar Surge is through educational videos. We do product reviews and comparisons. We've done some comparisons on your products. And so the idea is to provide the potential solar homeowner as much information as they're able to accept before they ever talk to us. And then all they have to do is schedule a quick 15-minute Zoom call, and then we can get into the specific details of the needs for their system. I'm not going to take credit for creating this strategy. I stole it from a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. And the way he explained it is very simply this. If you're a sales professional out there, you need to get out of this mindset of, how do I get people into my funnel? Nobody wants your funnel. Nobody cares about you or your ad campaign or your funnel. What you need to be thinking about is, how can I provide value to the audience that I'm targeting so that when they're ready to go shopping, they're going to reach out to you and you're going to be in that position of a trusted advisor.
That is a great answer, Joe. Exactly what I was hoping you would say. That was brilliant. Barry, we're going back to you. I had a question on here I really wanted to ask you. But more importantly, why have you guys adopted the Franklin solution? And why are you excited about using it in those spots? What's really, fill me in.
So the initial introduction to Franklin came from one of your people here, Lynn Tran. Shout out to Lynn. Did a great job introducing the LG product, and even better now. And so we evaluated the product and looked at it, and I liked it. It worked. It provided what the customers needed. But I had a little bit of an epiphany after walking around the entire show here yesterday. There's 24 companies selling battery systems. And when I look at all of those different companies and I compare them to what Franklin has right here, it occurred to me that the Franklin system provides the easiest way for customers to go whole home backup. Sounds mundane, but there's not another product on the market, even being shown here, that comes close to the ability of Franklin to give people whole home backup. And the features built in terms of load shedding, in terms of one battery, in terms of multiple batteries, in terms of ease installation, in terms of compatibility with all the existing systems out there. California's got 1.4 million solar systems on the roof. That's your market. And so it makes it much easier for installers who are looking at meeting the needs of customers for backup power and also for saving money, because in California, I'm saving a ton of money with my battery system. Franklin's got a very unique position, and even as far as the companies that are showing products that won't be released until next year, Franklin's quite a bit ahead of them.
Great. Hey, Joe, I got a question for you, since you're holding the mic. At what point in time did you decide, I'm gonna go all in on this solar sales YouTube? Like, why YouTube?
Much of what you see on the Solar Search YouTube channel today was really born out of necessity. I was one of the first guys installing solar plus storage on the East Coast, going all the way back to 2017. Like with Barry, we started with the SolarEdge LG PEM solution, and even before that, some more exotic off-grid solutions. But unfortunately, my installation business ultimately failed because, in large part, because we failed to properly price battery-based installations. And I could go through the list. I remember the spreadsheet: $10,000 loss, $8,000 loss. And so I viewed that as my tuition in my entry into the solar plus storage space. And so I found myself in late 2020 having to relaunch my business with no capital. And I just kind of took stock of what I did have available. And what I finally came to was what I have available is 8 years of experience solar plus storage. I have an iPhone and I have a TV in the room, hanging on the wall in my bedroom. And so to this day, if you go back to the Solar Search channel, some of the most popular videos we have is me standing in front of the TV in my bedroom, recording on my iPhone what I think of this product or that product, based on my experience as an electrician and installer. So a lot of the Solar Search strategy wasn't some brilliant idea. It was basically what I was forced to do, to restart again from nothing. And I was posting every 2 days for 2 months straight. Every 2 days, it was another video, another video, another video. And then I think it was late March 2021, we had our first video went viral, and it was very simply Tesla versus Enphase battery. A very simple title that had a lot of interest in terms of search, and it just took off. We had like 60 or 70,000 views in the first month. And then it was at that point that I realized, okay, YouTube and the opportunity on YouTube is for real. If we can be providing the right information to the right people, this is a way that we can get in front of the right potential clients and do so in a way that we have a high degree of trust coming in. So we're not just selling. We look at ourselves more as advisors, right? If you're in the process of going solar and you need some technical advice and expertise to guide you through that process, that's what we aim to be.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And speaking of, being an advisor and being empathetic to people's situation, Texas has seen a massive growth of solar. Some good, some bad. There's a lot of companies that come and go. You guys have managed to not only maintain an incredible reputation, but grow the company, double in size, triple size, whatever it is, repeatedly. What is the secret to taking a company from the ground up like you did? And what do you think is the real reason why customers trust you guys the way that they do?
Yeah, I think faith is a big one. Customers have faith in us as a customer, as a company, and with a name like Good Faith Energy, if like you're not treating customers in good faith, like you're literally the biggest hypocrite in the world. And so building a company around the customer and, design thinking and making sure that the customer is at the center of your business model. A lot of companies talk about it. Few actually follow up. I tell customers all the time, the worse you treat me, the better I'm going to treat you back. And typically that fundamentally shifts the way that they're treating me in the moment. Because I tell them I believe the universe is full circle. So if you're treating me like this right now, like I'll give you whatever you want, you're probably going to call me in a week with a hailstorm that destroys your solar panels in your roof, and I'm going to be, fixing it all. Honestly, you're only as good as your last Google review. And if you're not focused on continuing to enhance the customer experience and receive that feedback loop and request surveys, constantly, I would say reflect on what you're doing well and what you're not. For the longest time, we were selling storage with such difficulty because we were just letting salespeople run out and sell a deal. And that wasn't very smart, I think, on our end, because it's a very technical sale. It's not like solar. So we, reversed our process to where, customer calls in, we qualify them, we send out a site surveyor, they do a load calculation, they do a drone analysis, they come back, give it to the engineering team preps everything and gives it back to the sales team and says, this is where you can put panels where, this is what you need for a whole home backup. These are some of the adders that need to be included because of the assessment that we've made on the home. Because you just see in so many instances, customers getting backed into a corner so far into the permitting process or whatever, and then realizing for me to accomplish my initial goals, I need another $10,000 or $20,000 worth of batteries. And that's just a terrible experience for any homeowner. So I think companies that actually take the time to figure out what's in the best interest of their customer will stick around for forever. Yeah.
That's a great point. No, that's a really great point. So, because the joke is I started in this industry 15 years ago, and I was so bad at sales that I had to become an installer when I started. But eventually I figured it out, and then this is when we were still on the roof. And Barry can attest, man. We climb up there, and I'm not kidding you. We were not OSHA approved. I was in flip flops with my sales guys. Like, all right, 12 feet, 1 inch. Like throw the measuring tape over the side and just like jump into a bush. It was awful. There's no safety, but we did what we had to do. And now the process has been streamlined. You guys are all working in different mediums and in very distinguished with different markets, but hitting very similar levels of success, right? So, like Mo, we talked about consistency and being true to your word, and Joe, very similar to you, being able to take a risk and working with what you have and being able to still turn it into still have a great result, right? Anybody have any questions for these legends? Lynn.
Question for Joe. How does social media, in your opinion, compare to other traditional marketing channels?
Repeat the question.
So the question was, how does social media compare to other traditional marketing channels? I think that whether you realize it yet or not, social media is the new mainstream marketing channel. And so because of the amount of trust that people give to what people, they call me like influencers, people that are influencers on social media, we have that influence because we've built trust and credibility over time. So when we come to the marketplace with information, they don't receive it as just another paid ad, just another 30-second spot. And so I think for those of you that have a long-term strategy on marketing, the content marketing, the influencer marketing is going to be the new normal, because that's what has the influence over your consumer at the end of the day. And today's consumer, because there are so many different media platforms, are bombarded by even more advertising, traditional advertising, than they were in the past, whether it's magazine, television commercials, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, the whole thing. There's so much of it out there, LinkedIn even now, that the influencer really is king. But in order to earn that influence, you have to have a high degree of credibility, and as I mentioned, be able to create value for your audience before you ever engage with them in a sale.
Love that. I got a couple questions. Actually, I'm gonna do the audience now. Barry and Mo, how are you guys getting around code challenges when AHJs really don't understand how storage works? What are you guys doing to push those projects forward so they become revenue?
Well, you can't win an argument with an inspector.
Or a plans exam.
So you're either their friend or you're not doing that job. So we like to level with them. We'll flip through the pages of the code. We'll try and understand what alternate solutions are. We've got all kinds of issues that come up all the time. But it's just mutual education between what the equipment requires and what the jurisdiction will accept. And basically just if you get their back up against the wall, you're going to lose. So we also, in the past, and we're doing it a little bit more now, provide training for local inspectors. So sometimes we recently finished a training program for all of the San Mateo County fire inspectors. So when you're talking about lithium-ion batteries, you have another almost hostile level of bureaucracy called the fire inspectors and the fire departments. And they're actually harder to get over than the code book enforcers in the NEC. But it's just a matter of leveling with them, finding out what they need, and jump through hoops until you really meet their needs.
Yeah, I would echo what Barry said about education. Education is key. Nothing beats education, especially your plans examiners, your inspectors. Sometimes they're receptive to that education, sometimes they're not. There's been a lot of code changes with the new IRC 2021 and then National Electric Code 2020 that relate to backup power systems. And some of the cities that have actually adopted this aren't enforcing yet. Some of them are enforcing it, and it's going to play a major role in impacting how we go about doing our business. So for example, on the IRC 2021, you have a limit of 80 kilowatt hours per site. I mean, how often are you doing 5 batteries or more? I mean, not always, but it's still going to affect some people. You also have to install bollards around your battery. I mean, can you imagine having to come back on the back end and take away 10 or 20% of a homeowner's garage and install steel and concrete? That's going to cost you a couple grand. And then on the National Electric Code side, really the biggest changes are it's almost becoming like load management's going to become a must, having some sort of span or Savant smart breaker or Lumen or Solarx product or whatever. Because in the past you could size your battery to the largest breaker. So, you know, in a Franklin 30 or 40 amps, I would assume. Now it's based on a load calculation, and the total output of the batteries has to meet that load calc. So for you to have a whole home backup, you're going from 2 power walls maybe, or 2 Franklins to 4. And so the way around that is to have load management. Or be able to prove that your 15-minute demand, this is at least what the city of Dallas is allowing us to do, is tap into the smart meter data, look at the 15-minute intervals, showcase what the peak power was over the course of the 12 months, and then they have a formula and they'll maybe drop that load calculation down a little bit. But the solution really is going to lie in load management solutions. So.
Exactly.
Follow-up question. How do you request the smart data, and do you have to do that, or does the homeowner have to give it to you?
Yeah, great question. So in the state of Texas, you know, we have deregulation. So some areas are deregulated and others still are within cooperatives. So, or municipal utilities. So in deregulated areas, especially Encore, which serves about 40 million customers in Texas, they have a website called Smart Meter Texas. And you can log in, and as long as you have the customer's retail energy provider, what they call the ESI ID number, which is kind of like the social security number for meters, and the meter number, you can pull that data yourself as an installer.
Any homeowner?
Any homeowner.
Without their permission?
Well, you'd need their bill because you'd have to know. Yeah, but yeah, you could do it without their permission. Yeah.
And I just want to mention one more point in addition to what Mo mentioned regarding load management. The reason why we're such big fans of the Franklin battery is it's got integrated load shedding and load management. So if you have that situation and the inspector is concerned about, well, if you're running the EV charger and the HVAC system and the pool pumps at the same time, you can actually shed those as needed. So it's built in, which is a really important feature.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for bringing it up, Barry, so I didn't have to. I keep them over there. Sales on.
Well, you know what? Just to follow up on that, certain jurisdictions will not allow load shedding inside the gateway. So that's what we encountered with the city of Dallas.
That's why we make a non smart circuit as well. So you have an option to use it or not use it.
Yeah. Go Franklin.
Yes, go Franklin. All right. You guys, this was awesome. Joe, you gave me some tidbits, like I'm putting in my pocket, and I'm saying that this was, you guys were actually so much better than the questions I wrote. I'm glad we freestyled it. Thank you. And you guys, go check these guys out. Good Faith Energy in Dallas, Solar Surge. You can find them on YouTube, and then Cinnamon Energy Systems in Los Gatos. Give them a hand. Thank you guys.